Hey folks, I have a survey or a poll for you. So your feedback would be immensely appreciated by me for my own edification. So my question or the poll is to think about all the times that you have had to listen to or had a discussion with people about the possibility of a civil war or civil unrest since 2016. Okay. And when you think about, I want you to think about how many people, guessing is an estimated number is fine, how many people you've had to listen to this from or had this discussion with, depending on how much you're willing to entertain that idea. And then I want you to think about how many of these people were white versus minorities. Okay. So, and if you could give me that information in the comment box below, I'd appreciate it. And the reason I'm saying it is this. So here's the thing. I was on YouTube this morning listening to another astrologer do her thing, and apparently she's doing the presidential predictions, and I'm not completely. She seems to know what she's talking about in terms of understanding her astrological terminology and her astrology in some ways, but I don't know how she connected the dots between what she does and what she's seeing and a presidential outcome. And she wasn't even really making a prediction, so it could be this, but then it could be that. That's not a prediction. It's one or the other. It's yes or no. So I was like, and apparently she's been quoted by The Economist. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm, kind of going through this, and the video's not bad, right? Not bad. It's always good to learn new stuff. And then the next thing I know, I'm hearing, and something, civil war, civil unrest, right? So at this point, I am literally just like, really, really just, again, because we have a lot of MAGA supporting astrologers on YouTube who are naturally white, right? Or by default white. I'm not sure which came first, chicken or the egg. So the thing about it is they're a little tiresome, and they're always like sounding the alarm since 2016, sounding the alarm, about civil war, civil unrest. There's one I'm thinking of in particular who's particularly gruesome in this respect. She's very, very polished and pretty. And she's very much a MAGA supporter, you can tell, right? And she absolutely, constantly over and over and over and over and over again since Trump got elected, like hammering this idea of, civil war. Oh my God, bleach blonde woman from Texas practicing fake Vedic astrology. I'm just saying, like, if you know her, right? So there's her, and there's another guy who's Italian, and he was a huge Trump supporter, right? Oh my God, he's civil war. And he has since disappeared off the face of the earth because he's pissed off the entire astrological community, because also it turns out he's a con, he's a fraud, and he's ripped people off a lot. No surprise, right? I think it was Giancarlo. I don't remember what his name is, but he was a weird character, young guy, totally just nightmare. So yeah, he literally. But he was also a Trump supporter. So the thing about it is, on YouTube, you'll see a lot of astrologers who are big on supporting this fantasy or reinforcing this fantasy of civil war based on the aspects, right? And they all just happen to be 99.9% of them happen to be white. Now, you got to know where YouTube is concerned, so you understand what's happening here. This is not, in this particular case, when we talk about YouTube astrologers, we're not talking about a really good demographic statistical pool, because almost all of the astrologers on YouTube are white. There's only a handful of us that are minorities. Everybody else is white. So having the majority of people who are supporting this fantasy of civil war being white is not difficult to do when the majority of people in that pool are already white. I'm just saying, right? So, that's not surprising, but it is tiresome, right? Because we are practicing a form of metaphysics and, with a body of knowledge and skills that is supposed to be above all that, because this is about humanity and evolution and spiritual progress and the big picture. And, these characters are hanging around in the swamp with the mud frogs, right? Ooh, civil war. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And so I'm asking you guys for information about your experiences, because it could just be me. Like, I also know outside of YouTube, here in the real world around me, and mind you, I live around a bunch of rubes. So it's not unthinkable that every time I've been forced to listen to somebody do some dialogue, whatever, try to start a conversation about, do you think there'll be a civil war? It is invariably around here, because of the area I live in. It's always been the white folks that do this. And why they bring it up with me, I don't know, but they do, right? I guess they're expecting some kind of sympathetic alignment because they believe that everybody believes what they believe except for black people or now Hispanic Latin people, right? So it is. This one astrologer, man, it quoted in The Economist, pretty little white girl, and she too, is feeding into this fantasy, about a civil war. So I'm done. I'm just done and cooked because the only people who seem to be pushing for this are the white people. I could be wrong. So I'm asking you, in your experience, how many people have been out of these conversations you've had been white versus non-white? I really want to know. All right. Take care.